What is up guys, it is Michael and welcome back to another AFK Arena video. Today we're going through who to build within the Mauler faction inside of AFK Arena. Now if you haven't seen my other video on the Lightbearer faction, I highly recommend you go out and check the video out as well. Link will be down in the description. This will be a series where we go over all the factions inside of AFK Arena, and I'll go over who the best heroes are to build within the faction. Now without further ado, let's get on with the guide. Now when we think of the Mauler faction guys, we really think of one of the hardest factions inside of AFK Arena to build. Now what I mean by that guys, is that some heroes aren't really strong within the Mauler faction. Now a lot of heroes aren't really the priority, and some heroes don't fit in some formations within a Mauler. But some heroes inside here like Awakened Brutus, like Anasta, Kren guys, these heroes have some utility, and also now the newly added Crassio, adding some impact to the Mauler tower. But guys, we will start from the bottom with Vurk. With Vurk guys, short side of the tower, he really isn't used. Now I know some people use him in the early game and he does have some success as being a ranger even inside AFK Arena guys, but I highly recommend you don't build out Vurk, especially don't engrave him as well guys. I do see some players have him engrave at least 30, but guys I don't recommend you do that and you just E30 another hero within the Mauler faction. Moving over to Khasos guys. Now Khasos has no utility inside of AFK Arena. Short term of the early game and some mid game formations he is utilized in, but other than that guys, he has no utility outside of the early game of AFK Arena. Maybe some formations within the tower just for a fill-in guys. He is a warrior which does let him down, but probably Khasos will be an awakened hero in the future, but guys I would pass on building him. Moving over to the newly added Crassio guys. Now Crassio is probably one of the best heroes inside the faction guys, utilized in a lot of modes inside of AFK Arena, utilized in some boss comps in PvP, and especially the Nightmare Corridor as well guys. I actually recommend you build Crassio. Now obviously you don't have to build him straight away, you will get him eventually, probably in the select summons if you don't need some other crucial heroes. But guys, I'd highly recommend you do building guys. He's continuous damage ranger, which is very good for a Mauler guys. He does get the job done, especially in the Nightmare Corridor with how fast he can take down the enemies. But guys, with Crassio, he does need a high investment with at least a 3 or 9 furniture. His 9 or 9 would work. I've seen some people take him up to the E60 guys, but his E30 is actually pretty good with the skill passive can affect now 7 times, which is crazy for Crassio guys, but I do recommend you build him within the Mauler faction. Moving over to Salaki guys. Now Salaki did have some potential when he first came out. I know some people had some utility in the early game, said he was one of the best supports, especially new people or veteran players coming back to the early game just to try Salaki to see how he performs. Now in the end game guys, he really isn't used in short side of the tower, but he is a support buffer which is pretty good for a Mauler inside of AFK Arena in the Mauler faction. Now he is underrated, but guys, would I build him? The answer would be no. Now the reason for that guys is that there are better support buffers inside of AFK Arena, especially if you guys looked at my last video within the Lightbearer house. You guys can see how much better those support buffers are inside of this game. Now he does need a high investment to reign true. He is utilized within the tower and in some boss formations. You may be able to swap out some formations within inside the curse run with Salaki as he is a support unit, but guys, he does need the 30 signature item and 20 minimum and the 99 furniture, and you might as well just engrave him if you guys really want to build him, but I would honestly pass on Salaki. Over to Thali guys. And Thali is an absolute legend inside AFK Arena. I absolutely love the design of Thali, but short side of the tower, not used anywhere, which is sad, being a major continuous damage unit. Now does get some value inside of the early game guys. If you of course unlock these heroes early side in the game, they will perform great. Now short side of forward further into the game guys, these heroes do fall off, especially if you don't have them highly invested over the 99 furniture, the plus 30 signature item, which really brings out the hero guys, and maybe even the engraving, but I would definitely pass on Thali. Move forward to Thesku guys. Now honestly, such a cool looking hero guys with the 3-headed stakes guys, absolutely crazy. Now short side of the tower, not used guys, very sad. Such a cool looking unit, but guys, top 10 in the tower is pretty good. Now this hero you actually need for Mauler tower. Thesku, you actually want to build up not relatively high, just get the 3 to 9 finish guys and the plus 20, and the unit will reign high guys. An absolutely cool unit as you see the animations, but I actually would build this hero specifically for the tower. Now on to Safiya, guys, an absolute legend aside of AFK Arena, especially when it comes to the Mauler Tower, guys. When you think about the Mauler Tower, probably one of the heroes you think of is Safiya. Now, with Safiya, guys, she only needs really the plus 30 signature item to reign true. Inside the early game of AFK Arena, you probably are going to utilize her a lot more instead of the late game and end game, but Safiya is an absolute legend when it comes to the tower specifically. Now, other than that, guys, not used anywhere else, but would I build Safiya? I would for the plus 30, guys, and honestly just get her ascended and she should be fine. Moving over to the Bloodclaw legend himself, Brutus. Now, when we think of the Mauler heroes, guys, we think of AFK Arena, we think of Brutus, an absolute legend inside of AFK Arena. Now, short side of the tower, guys, and some campaign formations, he isn't really used anywhere. Now, as you saw right there, guys, his engravings were actually up there. He's E30 and E60. That's how popular Brutus is, guys. A lot of early game people think Brutus is one of the best heroes inside of AFK Arena. But guys, it is absolutely the opposite. His awakened version is way better. But guys, as you can see, his engravings don't really add much. So I highly recommend you don't engrave Brutus. But I do recommend you build into the plus 20 minimum and the 3 and 9 furniture, guys. With the immunity, guys, in early game, his survivability, guys, you don't need to have him built at all to have the immunity, which is absolutely game breaking for early game especially. But once you get further into AFK Arena, he does fall off, guys. Would I build Brutus? Honestly, I wouldn't build him past the plus 20 in the 3 and 9 finisher, guys. If you have him high stars, that's completely okay. He will get some utilization within the early game movement to mid game, but after that, guys, he does fall off. But he's a great hero in the tower, so I do recommend you build Brutus. Moving over to Granit, the big fella himself. Now, guys, he is used in the campaign and within the tower. Top 10 in the tower, which is great, guys. I actually recommend you do build Granit, guys, to the plus 30 signature item and the 3 and 9 furniture. That's honestly the most you can build him up to, guys, to get most utility out of him. Now, he is a great hero, guys. Obviously, chuck the equipment on him and he will just be amazing. Now, in the front line, guys, he is a tank. He's going to hold down the fort for the team. Now, that is crazy for within the Mauler tower. Instead of having Brutus, say you use Brutus in team 1, now you can use Granit in team 2 and he will do some work, especially defending the whole team as a primary role of a tank. Would I build Granit in AFK Arena, guys? Now, that's completely up to you. You will need to build him eventually, especially if you want to push the Mauler tower, guys. I highly recommend you do if you are going solely for the Mauler tower. Go to Alaro, guys. Now, Alaro was kind of a cool looking hero when he came out, guys, and being a support, being a buffer, guys. But like I said before, there's a lot of support buffers inside of AFK Arena that just outperform Alaro. Now, would I build him in AFK Arena, guys? No. Now, short side of the tower, he is not used anywhere in AFK Arena, not utilized in the curse run, not utilized anywhere that can get you some value. Looking to building, guys, he is fine in the plus 20 signature item, even in the 3 and 9 finisher, guys, but I wouldn't go anywhere past that. You do want to build him for the Mauler tower, but short side of that, guys, that is it. But I would pass on Alaro. Go to Numisu, guys, an absolute legend when it comes to the Mauler tower, guys. Another support region inside of AFK Arena, especially in the Mauler tower. It's a unique skill set. Now, short side of the tower, guys, he is in the top 10, which is great. Numisu, guys, he does get some value inside the tower. He provides a lot of support for the team, obviously, regen. Now, guys, would I build him 100% for the tower, guys? Get into the 9 and 9, get into the plus 20, guys. He does help within the Mauler tower, and it does reign true. Moving over to Anoki, guys. Now, Anoki is an absolute beast when it comes to AFK Arena, guys. A big tank control unit, which is very cool for the Mauler tower. Now, his design is absolutely sick, guys. I love his design. Now, as you can see, with the tower, he is used a lot, guys. Now, I did end up getting to the 9 and 9 just for the extra stats, but the plus 20 will do fine for him and the 3 and 9 as well. I highly recommend you do build Anoki, guys, just for a solid tank, especially in the Mauler tower. He will do well. Moving over to Tidus, probably one of my favorite Maulers inside of the game, guys. Tidus is an absolute machine. Now, back in the day, he was used everywhere, especially even the campaign within some PvP aspect, because he could literally just solo a team by himself, being a ranger and continuous damage unit. Now, honestly, guys, I would get him to the 99 and plus 30, 100%. He can solo Mauler tower stages on his own, which is absolutely incredible for a Mauler hero, and I highly recommend you build Tidus. Over to Skreg, an absolute legend, guys. Look at the skin right here, guys. An absolute cake boss right here. absolute legend is Skreg himself, obviously being a tank in AFK Arena. Get him to the 309 minimum. 100% great tank inside of the game, guys. Utilized in a lot of areas in PvP, in the tower, guys, in some formations where you can replace in the Cursed Realm, maybe even in the Nightmare Corridor as well as specific formations, guys, using PvP as well for just a solid tank in general. I highly recommend you build Skreg within the Maulers. Over to Satrana, honestly an underrated hero in AFK Arena, being a mage and a burst damage dealer. Now you need to have her built a bit high with the plus 30 with the 99 to get the most value. Now obviously her E30 is in the top 50, guys, but I highly recommend you don't engrave her. I just recommend you go for the signature item and the furniture, and she will do fine, guys. Honestly an underrated pick, especially for the tower, guys. She reigns true, especially being a mage hero inside of the Maulers. Over to Warek, guys. A warrior continuous damage beast. Now Warek, honestly, guys, is a must build in the Maulers. Now he is utilized in a lot of boss fights, used in a lot of guild fights as well, guys. He is a staple in the Abyssal Exhibition as well, especially if you build him high, guys, using the PvP. But his E30, guys, now honestly I got his E30, guys, to reduce the cooldown. Now his E30 for me, just for the bosses, just for the extra damage within the Abyssal Expedition, guys, for me, I highly recommend you don't E30 him, guys. Now obviously he is a beast even without the E30. You just need the signature item and the 99 furniture. But if you just want more damage and impact within the formation, guys, Warek E30 isn't even that bad. Moving over to probably one of the best Maulers inside of AFK Arena, guys, Drez. Now Drez is utilized in a lot of game modes inside of AFK Arena, within the PvP, within the tower, Nightmare Corridor, the Abyssal Expedition, guys, used in a lot of game modes. Now guys, he is a staple within the Mauler tower, so I highly recommend you get him to the 309 E30 to E60 minimum. Now 100% the E60 does help him with damage wise, which is crazy for the team, guys. With his ultimate deadly ambush deals damage to the enemy he's pursuing. Drez's attack rating is increased for 5 seconds, which is absolutely huge for Drez, guys. Now Drez can absolutely carry you within the Mauler tower and is a must build. Antandra, another great warrior side of the Mauler faction, guys. 100% recommend you build Antandra to the 309 E41. I believe I have it at the E41. Yeah, guys, 100% get her up there, guys. Her E30 significantly increases scale damage, which is great. Now, back in the day, she was a staple within the Abyssal Expedition, still using there a lot. Obviously, she's using the tower in a lot of boss formations with Kane, where Burning Brute, guys, her E30 is up there within the top 30, and her E60 is up there as well. But would I recommend you E60 and Antandra, guys? Not really, just because of utilization issues with her, guys, using the tower, using some PvP, and obviously in guild bosses. Other than that, not really utilized anywhere else, but I highly recommend you build Antandra to the at least 309 E41. Over to Kren, guys. Such a cool unit inside of AFK Arena, especially in the Maulers, guys. Now Kren is an absolute staple within the tower, guys. Being number 1 in there is crucial. You need to build Kren in AFK Arena. His E30 is exceptional, and also his campaign usage in the top 50, guys. Now I did E60 Kren because he's an absolute beast, especially with his ultimate build. He's been absolutely crazy, bringing the enemies together, grouping them together, and absolutely destroying, especially being a ranger hero inside of the Mauler faction. Actually is a ranger inside the Mauler faction, which makes him a great unit inside of the Maulers. Over to Antandra, one of the best units in the Mauler faction, guys. 110% recommend you build her to the 309 E60 minimum. 110%. She's utilized in a lot of the modes, guys, using a lot of boss formations. You see top 10 in the Mauler floors. The E30 reigns true with the 99 furniture and the E60 going high, guys. Now, she's an absolute legend AFK Arena, being a continuous damage role. Solo Mauler stage, guys, on her own, which is absolutely crazy being a warrior. And in Abyssal Expedition, gets incredible value inside of formation, guys. I highly recommend you build an Anasta. Brutus, guys, aka Chicken, an absolute unit inside of AFK Arena. Now guys, we have the popularity inside the game. He's used top 5 in the tower. He's used in the original King's Tower top 6, which is crazy, guys, with the grouping up ability. Able to get Lucretia, for example, to go crazy within the formation to ult quickly. Grouping skill, guys, an absolute game changer when it comes to AFK Arena. Not many heroes can do what Chicken can do. He is the wise one for a reason, guys. But his build, guys, I would honestly focus on the 309. Now, the engraving is good here, as you can see right here. The E30 increases the debuff of fatal action and haste, which is very good. Now, the E60, guys, honestly, I did this just for the attack rating once the maximum crit is reached, which is actually pretty huge for Skriath and within the squad, especially with his grouping ability and everyone getting their ultimate abilities together. Now, Skriath is 100% a must build inside of AFK Arena, and I highly recommend you build him. Moving over to the best Mauler inside the Mauler faction, guys, it is Awakened Brutus, of course. No surprise to anyone, but he is the most utilized hero inside of the Mauler faction. 110% one of the most utilized heroes in AFK Arena, guys. He's used in the tower, of course, being number 2. I'm surprised he isn't number 1. Used in the PvP aspect, Ishimura. E60 is number 8, guys. 110% with the Awakened heroes. You want an E60 to the minimum. Now, using the Legend Championship, guys, Kane, Exclusive Finisher, 99 is minimum for him. E30 I don't recommend, guys. I just recommend you go for the E60, 110%. Get all his skills and abilities so you get the most value out of him. And obviously, used in a lot of campaign formations. Now, I did end up getting an E80 for Awakened Brutus, guys. He's one of my favorite units in AFK Arena. Would I say he's the best character in AFK Arena? No, guys. I definitely say he's in the top 5 for sure. But, guys, if you saw in the last video, guys, we did say Awakened Belinda is number 1. And I'm going to stand by that, guys. But Brutus is making his way slowly up the ranks. Maybe even being second and third best hero in the game. But, guys, with more Awakened heroes slowly coming around, he might be replaced by a broken Awakened hero. But other than that, guys, Awakened Brutus is by far the best Awakened Mauler in AFK Arena. So that will do it for who to build within the Mauler faction. If you haven't already, check out my other video on the series where we talk about the best light bearers to build inside of AFK Arena. Link will be down in the description. If this video helped you and you want to ask more questions about AFK Arena, feel free to join the Discord, which is also linked down in the description. Let me know your favorite hero in the Mauler faction, and I'll see you all in the next one.